Welcome to the Deep Dive. Each week, we take a stack of fascinating sources and, well, we unpack the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight for you. Today, we're doing something a little special. We're diving deep into the sources that have really captured the attention of the Pythonist programmer.
Right, she's a software engineering consultant, and this is her curated list from this past week, July 15th through 19th, 2025.
And it's a really diverse collection. But the common thread, it's the pervasive and sometimes kind of surprising impact of AI everywhere.
Exactly. From how we code to how companies, get noticed online.
All the way to the big ethical and environmental questions of our time. It's really quite the range.
And what's fascinating here is how these topics, which seem pretty separate on the surface, really show the breadth of AI's influence. But they also, I think, reveal the human challenges that persist, even as the tech landscape evolves so rapidly.
So we'll be looking at how AI shapes tools, sure, but also perceptions, our roles.
And even like the fabric of our digital presence and those bigger societal concerns.
Okay, let's unpack this. We've got some genuinely thought-provoking material today. Let's get started. So we're kicking off with something that might surprise a lot of folks in the tech world. It's a new study that really challenges our assumptions about AI and developer productivity. It forces us to question what we thought we knew.
Indeed. This study, it's from the METR organization, and it's quite revealing. Basically, they gave developers 246 issues to work on. Some were tagged AI allowed, others AI disallowed, randomly assigned.
And the tools they used, mostly Cursor Pro IDE and Anthropic's Claude, the 3.5 or 3.7 versions.
Yeah, and here's the interesting part. The developers thought, they estimated, they'd work about 24% quicker with the AI helping out.
Well, that's that, Harry Peck. And this is the kicker.
Yeah.
In reality, it took them 19% longer.
Longer.
Oh.
Yeah. Nate Rush, one of the study's co-authors, admitted they were expecting a really obvious speed up, like 20%, maybe even 50%. They were genuinely surprised by the opposite result.
And it wasn't just them. Steve Newman, co-founder of Writely, which became Google Docs, he initially thought the results sounded, well, too bad to be true. But after looking at the study, he concluded they were legitimate.
And Simon Willison, too, co-creator of Django. He found the research credible, even with a relatively small sample size. He thought it really highlights how, quote, people are terrible at estimating their productivity performance.
That's a really key point, isn't it? It's not just about the AI, it's about our own perception.
Exactly. It's a reminder that our gut feeling about how productive we are, especially with new tools, can be, well, pretty far off. We need the data.
Yeah, and there was Milan Milanovic, the CTO with like 20 plus years of experience. He suggested that for senior developers, the ones who really know those massive, complex code bases inside out.
The million-line repositories with years of accumulated complexity.
Right. For them, AI can actually become, quote, a liability rather than an asset because they just know the code already.
So the study looked into, I think, 20 possible explanations for this difference.
And the top factors seem to be things like being overly optimistic about the AI, the sheer size and just weirdness of mature code bases.
And the time spent correcting unreliable suggestions from the AI models. That eats up time.
Definitely. But it's crucial to add, the researchers themselves were very clear.
Yeah, they explicitly stated this doesn't mean AI hinders productivity overall. The goal was more to help better inform people how to use AI appropriately.
And it's totally possible future AI models, future tools will get faster. Or maybe it works better for specific kinds of tasks.
Absolutely. It's early days still, in
Yep.
many ways.
So if AI isn't quite the silver bullet for productivity we perhaps thought, what does that mean for the individual developer? And how does this unexpected reality connect to those often unspoken challenges of changing roles in the software world?
Well, that leads us perfectly into this other piece, which is titled, Am I Becoming Irrelevant? It's quite poignant.
It really sounds like it hits a nerve.
It does. The author talks about the frustration of moving from being an individual contributor, the person who got things done, shipped features, dealt with the firefights, got that immediate public recognition.
Right, the visible stuff. And transitioning to a leadership role.
Where you feel more like a buffer.
A buffer? How so?
Well, spending your time trying to protect the team's focus, saying no to things that don't really matter.
Okay. And trying to convince smart people to work on the boring but important stuff. I can see that.
Exactly. And this crucial work, filtering the noise, pushing back against superiors sometimes, clearing the fog for your team, absorbing tension, it doesn't show up on a roadmap.
You don't demo that at the company all-hands meeting.
Precisely. It's what the author calls invisible work.
Invisible work. That's a great phrase for it.
And it leads to this quiet fear, this anxiety. Am I going to get fired for not contributing? Am I just one reorg away from being irrelevant?
Wow, that's heavy.
It is. And the struggle becomes, how do you measure your success when there's no applause? How do you get okay with the fact that the better you are at this invisible work, often the less visible it actually is?
That really raises a fundamental question, doesn't it, about how we define impact as roles change, especially now with AI increasingly handling those visible, task-based things.
It's a huge shift.
Yeah.
From your personal output to enabling the output of others. And that enabling layer, well, it doesn't clap for itself.
No, it really doesn't. This whole discussion just highlights how the nature of work itself is transforming. But it's not just the roles, is it? It's also the actual tools we use to create things.
Right. AI is reshaping the creation process itself.
Okay, so we've touched on how AI impacts individual work and roles. Let's zoom out a bit to the tools and the broader digital landscape.
And this brings us to a pretty provocative statement from one source. No code is dead.
No code is dead. Okay, tell me more. That sounds like a big claim.
It is. The article talks about this idea of vibe coding.
And vibe coding.
Yeah, basically the ability for people who aren't technical experts to build apps just using natural language, telling an AI what they want.
Huh, okay. I imagine that sparks some debate.
Oh, definitely. You've got skeptics, like David Mitton, the CEO of ArcJet. He warns that while Gen AI might make building faster initially, it could create a huge source of technical debt.
Because you don't necessarily understand the code being generated.
Exactly. Josh Hawes, the co-CEO of Bubble, even calls his own company a vibe code killer. His point is that pure AI generation makes mistakes, and users really need to understand what that code does.
Makes sense. But there must be proponents, too.
For sure. People like Burley Kawasaki, the CPO at Creatio, he argues AI is really just a form of no code, but using language instead of visual drag-and-drop tools. And he thinks it actually enhances visual development, which he says is still better for things like pixel-perfect user interfaces or complex dashboards.
So it's more of an evolution than a replacement in his view?
Sort of. But then you have the really radical view, like from Amjad Masad, the CEO of Replit. He predicts that both no-code and low-code will just go away.
Replaced by what?
Replaced by AI agents that just do the work. You focus on the outcome, the agent figures out how.
Wow, that's a big leap.
It is. And it brings up this critical problem Miguel Baltazar from OutSystems calls the orphan code problem.
Orphan code?
Yeah. If you don't understand the code the AI generates, you've created orphan code from day one. The AI is the only one who wrote it, the only one who truly understands it.
Like writing a book in a language you don't speak, using AI.
Exactly, his analogy. Which leads to this really important distinction the experts are making between no code and low code.
Okay, what's the difference in this context?
Well, experts like Baltazar think no-code platforms will likely be subsumed by Gen AI. The skill sets are similar, configuring things rather than deep coding, but no-code often operates in a walled garden, right? It has finite parameters, and if you need to go beyond those limits, it can become hell.
Right, I've heard that frustration. So low code is different.
Yes. Low-code platforms are generally seen as more maintainable, more readable. They're designed more for the orchestration of these imperfect AI agents, which is crucial for enterprise development. OutSystems, for example, apparently reduced their support tickets by 35% using AI agents within their low-code environment.
Okay, so AI is definitely shaking up the development lifecycle, either replacing older tools or perhaps more likely enhancing existing ones.
And speaking of enhancement, there's this whole new category emerging for professional developers.
Which is?
Agentic development environments, or ADEs.
Agentic development environments. Okay, like Warp 2.0.
Exactly. The article Q&A, How Warp 2.0 Compares to Claude Code and Gemini CLI, dives into this. Warp CEO Zach Lloyd, he genuinely believes that coding by hand will go away entirely over time.
Bold statement. So what makes Warp 2.0 an ADE?
A key thing is it includes a code editor. But it's sparse, pretty basic. It's not really meant for writing code from scratch.
Okay, so what's it for then?
It's designed for human review of agent-written code and for making direct manual changes right there without having to switch context to a different application.
Avoiding that context switching, that's a big productivity killer.
Huge. He calls this a key advantage over tools that are just command line interfaces.
And he talks about an aha moment.
Yeah, that's when Warp just fixes something for you. Like a tricky Python dependency issue or a Docker problem without you having to manually figure it out.
I can see how that would feel like magic.
And then there's the agentic moment. He says the zeitgeist is shifting toward terminal-based coding agents
Why the terminal?
because that time-based log and an imperative interface, basically, seeing the steps unfold and telling the agent what to do next, seems to be the best way to work with AI for coding tasks right now.
Interesting. So Warp, being the outer platform with the full UI, gives developers a deeper way to manage and review what the AI agent is doing.
That's the argument. A much deeper interface compared to just using a VS Code plugin or a simple wrapper around a command line tool.
And what are they working on next?
Tackling the token-hungry nature of these models, making agent management a core part of the app, and really leaning into what they call machine-composable programs, or MCPs.
MTPs.
Yeah, programs designed to be easily used and combined by other machines or agents. Especially useful for interacting with tools that don't have good command line interfaces, like Notion or Linear.
Okay, so we're seeing AI change how code gets written, the tools developers use, but its impact goes way beyond the code itself, right?
Absolutely. It's fundamentally changing how anything, any product, any brand, any piece of content gets found and perceived online. We're moving far beyond traditional SEO.
Which brings us to this article, Beyond SEO, Winning Visibility in the AI Search Era. Sounds critical.
It really is. It starts by talking about the disappearing internet.
The disappearing internet, what does that mean?
It means that last year, apparently 15% of Google's clicks just vanished.
Vanished? Where did they go?
Mostly swallowed up by AI summaries. Think Google's AI overviews, not primarily by things like ChatGPT.
Ah, so the answers are appearing directly in the search results.
Exactly. And those high-intent, high-value searches, more and more, they're happening directly inside AI chat interfaces like Claude or Perplexity. People aren't clicking through as much.
So the whole paradigm is shifting. We're not just writing for humans or Google's old algorithms anymore.
We're writing for the large language models. Our content is effectively becoming training data.
Training data that teaches the AI how to answer questions without necessarily sending traffic to our websites.
Precisely. So the new goal, according to this article, is brand as a parameter.
Brand as a parameter. Okay, break that down.
It means ensuring your unique insights, your brand's identity, get encoded in the AI models. You need to become a distinct point in the AI's conceptual map of the world. Otherwise, you're just noise. And in AI responses, there's really no page two. You're either part of the answer or you're invisible.
That's a stark reality. So how do you achieve this? The article mentions an AI-first content architecture.
Yeah, a few key things. First, addressability.
Yeah.
Your content needs to be easily citable, almost like Wikipedia, with clear facts and precision.
Okay. Makes sense for an AI trying to synthesize information.
Second, structure. AI loves hierarchy, clear relationships between concepts, unambiguous formatting. Things like JSON LD.
That structured data format.
Yes, becoming table stakes. Essential.
Third.
Interactivity. This is seen as a potential moat.
A moat. Because AI can't interact.
Right. AIs are great at summarizing text, but they can't, use a calculator on your site or fill out an assessment tool or interact with the dynamic visualization. Those elements force human engagement, potentially drawing users back to your site.
Interesting. So make content that requires doing, not just reading.
Exactly. And then there are more tactical moves, what the article calls AI SEO 101.
Okay, like what?
Like refining your brand as parameter. Create one core, canonical, maybe 7-word description of what you are or do.
And use it everywhere.
With military precision.
Yeah.
Across all your digital platforms. Repetition helps train the LLMs.
Makes sense. What else?
Entity grooming. Develop a slightly longer, maybe 50-word description and ensure it's consistent across all the major sites that mention you, like Wikipedia, LinkedIn, review sites.
Why consistency?
Because for AI, consensus beats links. If many trusted sources describe you the same way, the AI trusts that description.
Got it. Consensus over just backlinks.
Another tactic. Own the method.
Own the method.
Stop just solving generic problems. Name and document your unique approach, like the Acme Compliance Framework or whatever it is. This helps you become a distinct category in the AI's mind, not just another solution provider.
Become the definition, not just an example.
Precisely. And finally, forum authority. LLMs apparently trust authentic discussions on places like Reddit and Hacker News more than slick corporate marketing.
So participating genuinely in those communities builds trust with the AI.
That's the idea. Provide real value first.
Okay, that's the 101. What about the more advanced stuff, the engineering moats or AI SEO 301?
Right, this is for organizations with more technical resources. First, prompt injection as PR.
Prompt injection sounds risky.
It's not about malicious injection here. It's about creating a dedicated file, say afacts.json, with purely machine-readable facts about your company in JSON format.
And then what?
You distribute it. Point to it from common crawl data access requests, your robots.txt file, your developer docs. Make it easy for AIs to ingest structured facts about you.
Clever. Using the AI's own methods. What else?
We mentioned widgets as moats, those interactive elements. Then there's latency wars.
Latency wars. Sounds intense.
AI is impatient. It apparently gives up after about 3 seconds and might just use cached, possibly outdated data. Or worse, it might hallucinate.
So speed is critical for accuracy in AI responses about you.
Absolutely. You need AI-specific infrastructure. Things like edge functions to serve data quickly from locations near the AI data centers, maybe dedicated endpoints like A-pricing that respond in under 200 milliseconds globally.
Wow, okay. That's serious infrastructure.
Then, rights management. Evolving your robots.txt file beyond just blocking bots
How so?
to include specific AI usage rights. Define how you want your content used, demand attribution, maybe set limits. You could even list bots you've blocked for not complying as a way to sort of psychologically prompt engineer the major AI models to respect your terms.
Interesting. Using social pressure on the AI developer.
Kind of. And then there are automated systems, synthetic query loops,
Meaning.
building pipelines that automatically run thousands of queries across different AI platforms every day to check your visibility, see how you're being represented, track competitors.
And share a voice dashboards to analyze all that data.
Exactly. Tracking your mention rate, position, authority, sentiment, and AI answers, building your own AI analytics.
This is a whole new world of analytics and technical SEO.
It really is. And the article has a stark warning. Brands that aren't adapting now are basically zombies.
Zombies.
Yeah, because of the parameter lock-in effect. The early movers who successfully established themselves as parameters in the AI models will solidify their position.
Making it really hard for others to catch up later.
Incredibly hard.
Yeah.
The article suggests there's maybe an 18-24-month window before these positions become effectively permanent in the current generation of models.
Wow. That's urgent. This completely changes the game for brand strategy. It's not just tech companies, is it?
Not at all. It applies to everyone. And you see echoes of this need for adaptation and relevance everywhere, even in established industries like luxury goods.
Right, which connects to that piece. Are luxury mega brands broken?
Exactly. For about 15 years, these huge luxury brands had an amazing run, the terrific run, the article calls it.
Driven by what?
Product upgrades, constantly hiking prices, new wealth emerging, especially in China, and a strong U.S. economy. Think LVMH's Louis Vuitton and bags like the Capucine.
But now there are signs of trouble. Simultaneous crises.
Yeah. Sales faltering at giants like Chanel and LVMH's fashion leather goods divisions. At the same time, you see success from accessible luxury brands Coach. Ralph Lauren Polo are mentioned.
And other types of luxury are growing.
Right. Jewelry houses are doing well. So is quiet luxury brands like Loro Piana, Brunello Cucinelli, and more fashion-forward brands like Miu Miu.
So what's causing the trouble for the mega brands? The article mentions converging factors.
Several things. One is a perceived innovation deficit, either failed attempts at reinvention or just doing more of the same, like maybe at Gucci or Dior, according to the article.
Okay, lack of newness. What else?
Fewer new consumers entering the market, especially from China, partly due to their real estate crisis and lower consumer confidence generally.
And new customers are important for mega brands.
Apparently, yes. They tend to buy the iconic foundation pieces from the big names, while more experienced luxury shoppers often look for novelty elsewhere.
Makes sense. Any other factors?
Just the broader economic pressures. Higher inflation, rising interest rates, maybe less job security hitting those middle-class consumers in the U.S. and Europe who might have stretched for a luxury item before.
And one more thing mentioned was jewelry versus leather goods.
Yeah, because the soft luxury brands hiked prices so aggressively on bags and such, high jewelry started looking relatively cheaper, or at least better value in comparison.
Interesting dynamic. But is it all doom and gloom for them? Can they turn it around?
The article suggests many of these headwinds could reverse. The mega brands aren't just sitting still. They're adjusting product mixes to attract entry-level buyers again. They're bringing in new creative directors, promising a wave of unprecedented volume of newness by the spring-summer 2026 season.
And big marketing pushes.
Huge sponsorships. Louis Vuitton with Formula One, the Olympics, aiming to recruit those new middle-class consumers again.
So even in a totally different industry, you see the same core challenges. Adapting to change, staying relevant, finding new ways to connect in a dynamic market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It echoes those themes we saw in software and digital visibility. The need for constant innovation and reinvention is universal right now.
Okay, so AI is clearly reshaping industries, business models, how we even get noticed. But that comes with some pretty significant baggage, right? Big ethical, societal questions.
Absolutely. And that's where we need to turn next, moving beyond the business implications to the legal and societal ones.
Let's start with copyright. That's been a huge battleground.
A massive one. The source, Big Tech scores major wins in the battle over AI copyright, covers some key developments, specifically 2 recent rulings from California judges. They found that Meta and Anthropic using copyrighted books to train their LLMs could fall under fair use.
Fair use. That's the argument that tech companies are making, that it's transformative.
Exactly. Judge Alsop, in the Anthropic case, even called the training exceedingly transformative. The copyright holders obviously disagree strongly. They argue these AI models directly harm the market for their original works.
But it wasn't a total win for big tech, was it? There were nuances.
Right. Important ones. Judge Alsop did allow a trial to proceed specifically on the question of whether Anthropic stole pirated books for its training data library. That specific part might not be fair use.
Okay. And the other judge, in the Meta case, Judge Chabria.
He actually said something quite strong initially, that in most cases, training on copyrighted material without permission is likely illegal. He warned that AI-generated media could seriously, dramatically undermine the incentive for human beings to create things the old-fashioned way.
That sounds like he sided with the authors.
Well, he said that, but he still ruled against the authors in that specific case.
Why?
Because he felt their specific legal arguments about things like the AI reproducing small snippets or harming their ability to license their work were, in his words, clear losers. He also felt they barely give this issue lip service when it came to proving actual market harm or dilution.
So the legal arguments weren't strong enough in that instance, even if he had broader concerns?
Seems to be the case. The consensus among lawyers seems to be that this whole issue will eventually have to go to the Supreme Court to get a definitive answer.
Which could take years.
Years, easily. So the legal landscape around AI and copyright, still very much in flux, very complex, with huge stakes on both sides.
Okay, so from legal battles over intellectual property, let's shift to a different kind of ethical tightrope. Balancing safety and privacy, especially for younger users online.
Yeah, this is a really tricky area. The article, Roblox's new age verification feature, uses AI to scan teens' video selfies. Gets right into it.
AI scanning teens' video selfies. Tell me about that.
Roblox is rolling out this AI-driven system. Teens can submit a video selfie. The AI scans it against a data set and estimates their age.
And the point of this is?
If the AI verifies them as 13 or older, it unlocks something called trusted connections, which allows for unfiltered chats with other verified users.
Okay, and Roblox's justification is safety.
That's their stated goal. To make the platform safe by default, monitor for predators, inappropriate content, sexualization, and crucially, to keep these conversations on Roblox, where they can theoretically monitor them, rather than having users jump off to less supervised platforms like Discord.
Makes sense from their perspective, but I imagine there are concerns.
Big concerns. Kira Pendergast, who's the CEO of Safe on Social, raises several issues. First, she points out these measures are largely opt-in.
Meaning the responsibility is on the kids?
Pretty much.
Right.
It puts the onus on minors to identify and manage risks, which kind of goes against how grooming often works. The predator builds trust and isolates the victim.
Good point. What else?
She questions the accuracy of the AI age estimation itself, noting these tools can easily incorrectly categorize users as older or younger.
Which could defeat the whole purpose.
Right. And there's this feature for adult connections involving scanning QR codes in person. Pendergast argues this just assumes that in-person QR code scanning is inherently safe, ignoring that predators absolutely use real-world grooming tactics.
So it creates a false sense of security.
Potentially. She believes real protection would require guardian co-verification for any connections, not just trusting a QR scan.
And the Trusted Connections feature only covers chat.
Yeah, that's another criticism. It only applies to chat, leaving other large surface areas exposed on the platform.
And then there's the privacy angle, of course. Scanning biometric data.
Huge privacy concerns. Roblox says the biometric data from the selfie scan is deleted within 30 days, unless they're legally required to keep it. But the article points to broader anxieties about surveillance on these platforms. It even mentions the privacy policy for the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2's game chat, which apparently warns users that their video and audio interactions might be monitored.
So it's a wider trend. This really forces a difficult calculation, doesn't it? How much privacy are we, or should we be, willing to trade for potentially increased safety, especially for kids?
It's a really tough balance with no easy answers.
Okay, this leads us to perhaps the biggest picture issue of all, the sheer environmental cost of AI and how that's getting tangled up in politics and economics.
Right, the energy demands of AI are becoming a major factor in global discussions.
The article, Trump and the Energy Industry Are Eager to Power AI with Fossil Fuels, really highlights this intersection.
It does. It mentions President Trump citing advisors who suggested AI could require double the electric of what we have right now. Whether that's accurate or not, it sets a certain narrative.
A narrative that benefits some industries more than others.
Seems so. The article describes a big energy and innovation summit held in Pittsburgh, which is, a major natural gas area. A massive $92 billion in investments were announced there. And leaders from the natural gas industry were actively positioning AI's huge energy demand as a major opportunity for their sector, especially since there's currently a global oversupply of natural gas.
So using AI demand to boost fossil fuels, was there a political angle?
Very clearly, according to the source. The Trump administration appears to be leveraging AI's energy needs to create openings for fossil fuels. Tellingly, the article notes there were no representatives from wind or solar energy on the public panels at this major summit.
Okay. What about the tech companies themselves? Are they all on board with fossil fuels for AI?
It's more nuanced. The article mentions some tech giants have actually walked back some climate commitments recently, but they also show pragmatism. Google, for instance, announced a $3 billion investment in hydropower. Generally, they seem interested in any source of cheap, reliable power they can get.
So it's driven by cost and availability as much as anything.
Largely, yes. Although economically, the article points out that financial analysts still suggest utility-scale solar panels combined with battery storage are cheaper than building new natural gas plants, even without subsidies.
And there are issues with gas infrastructure, too.
Yeah, apparently there's a global shortage of the necessary infrastructure, so it's not a simple plug-and-play solution.
Is everyone buying these massive projections for AI energy use?
Not entirely. There's definitely skepticism. Jonathan Koomey, a computing researcher, views these huge projections with great skepticism. He points to self-interested actors who benefit from hyping the demand.
Does he see parallels to the past?
Yes, specifically to the dot-com boom in the late 1990s. Back then, there were similar massive predictions about how much energy the internet would consume.
Predictions that didn't really pan out.
Largely, no. And often those predictions were heavily promoted by, you guessed it, the fossil fuel industry.
History repeating itself, perhaps. Are there other signs of doubt?
The article mentions Microsoft has apparently backed out of some data center leases recently, which could suggest some internal recalculation or uncertainty about future needs.
So it's a really complex picture. AI's energy demand is real, but the scale might be hyped by certain interests.
And it's directly intersecting with global energy policy, big economic bets, environmental debates, and political maneuvering.
It just underscores how this technology, which feels abstract to many, has incredibly deep roots in the physical world and our resource decisions.
Absolutely. Often in ways we don't immediately think about.
Wow. Okay, that was quite the journey through the Pythonist programmers' curated sources this week. A real deep dive.
It really was. From that surprising study on developer productivity with AI.
Yeah, that 19% slower figure still gets me.
Right. To the whole debate around no-code, vibe coding, and those new agentic development environments like Warp, we really covered how AI is changing the building process.
And then the massive shift in just getting noticed online, moving beyond SEO to thinking about brand as a parameter and all those technical strategies, that was eye-opening.
Definitely. And we explored the ripple effects, the legal battles over copyright, the really difficult ethical questions around kids' safety versus privacy on platforms like Roblox.
And wrapping up with that huge issue of AI's energy footprint and how it's becoming a pawn in economic and political games.
It connects everything, doesn't it?
It really does. And what strikes me looking back at all these sources together is that they're not just about the tech shifts.
No, they're fundamentally about that constant negotiation, that push and pull between our human experience and these powerful technological advancements.
Whether you're building the tech, managing teams, doing the invisible work, trying to get your brand seen, or just, living in this world, AI is fundamentally reshaping the ground under our feet.
It forces us to rethink so many basic assumptions.
Which kind of leads to a final thought, maybe something for you, the listener, to mull over.
As AI gets woven deeper and deeper into pretty much every layer of our world, how do you plan to identify or even measure the true impact? The impact of your own work, maybe even your own life, especially when so much of what might be truly valuable could become less visible, maybe even invisible, according to the old metrics we've always used.
How do we measure impact when the nature of contribution itself is changing so profoundly?
Yeah, something to think about.
Definitely something to mull over. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive, curated by the Pythonist programmer. We really hope you found some valuable nuggets of knowledge today. #tag episode sources. AI doesn't make devs as productive as they think, study finds. Am I becoming irrelevant? Are luxury mega brands broken?
Winning visibility in the AI search era. Big tech scores major wins in the battle over AI copyright. No code is dead.
How Warp 2.0 compares to Claude Code and Gemini CLI. Roblox's new age verification feature uses AI to scan teens' video selfies. Trump and the energy industry are eager to power AI with fossil fuels.